disasters that are going on across the country today, there has never been a better time to be prepared for power outages. And today, thanks to a sponsorship from our longtime partners at EcoFlow, we're going to show you some products, some methods, and some ideas that can help you out with that. So let's get to it. So that was a little dusty, yes, sorry about that. But I like to be prepared for anything, as you might have noticed. And lately what we've been going on here in Central Oregon is wildfires everywhere. Wildfires are something I'm pretty familiar with, and power outages are something I'm even more familiar with because I'm from Northern California, where in the summertime we basically have to make our own power. Actually, funny story, when we bought this property, a friend of mine who's from up here in Oregon was helping me unload and unpack here at the house. And he asked me why I have 15 gas cans and 3 different generators and I think 8 or 9 propane tanks. And I had to explain to him that in Northern California, especially during the summer, things are a little different, where if the wind starts blowing or gets hot outside, they just shut your power off, and that can last for anywhere from 2 days to a week. Then after a week, they might turn it back on, give you a day or two of power to kind of reset, and back out for another 4 or 5 days. That was just kind of the standard around there. Now I've turned around and I'm walking right back to where I just was, because I didn't realize what I was going to talk about next was right where I was just standing. And that is what had always been the workhorse of my power outage needs. This is a 2,000 watt generator, and a generator that size is very common for a lot of people who are used to being without power in places, especially like where we were from. Pretty much everyone has a 2,000 watt generator of some flavor. This one, as you can see, is very well used. Done a lot of work in its day. Pulled the starter cord right through the sides of it. It's been used so much. And that's what kept us going, kept our fridges running, kept our phones charged, kept our essentials needs going for weeks on end. But there's a problem with that. Now I've turned around and I'm walking back off again, because now I can go to the next step. You see, a generator has to run full time so that the power is always ready when it's needed. But when you have a power outage, your most immediate need, the first thing you're going to think about is your food in your fridge. A fridge doesn't run 24/7. I mean, there's just a tiniest little bit of draw to run the control board and the thermostat, stuff like that. But a fridge's compressor, its actual running operating needs, is only about 50% of the time. See, a fridge will get down to a certain temperature, shut everything down, sit there insulated and wait until it drops or raises up to a certain temperature again, then kicks the compressor back on. You'll probably notice, you could hear right here by our outdoor fridge, you can hear that thing running. It's because the compressor is running right now, and then it'll kick off and it'll stop. But that generator we're using to run the fridge runs the full time. So when that compressor shuts off in that fridge, it just did it. Of course, as I walked away. Listen. Quiet. Now the fridge is off. It's going to sit off for, like I said, about 50% of its day. So to run that fridge for a 24-hour day, you need, on average, 12 hours of hard power supply to it, but your generator has to run for 24. That's horribly inefficient. Now luckily, EcoFlow has the perfect replacement for that inefficient 2,000 watt generator that actually exceeds its capabilities, not only in straight up power output, but versatility as well. And that is the EcoFlow Delta 2 Max. Now those of you that watch this channel saw my whole video on my office system I have going on here with the solar from the outside and the Wave 2 air conditioner heater, the Glacier fridge, and the Delta 2 Max that run my off-grid office here. But for those of you that haven't seen this setup, and even for those that have, one major thing is different about this. You can see we have this here for our power. I have literally every single USB plug on the front doing something right now. There's 4, 5, 6 right there. These are the USB-C ones. These are USB A's. I got our radios charging up. That's the remote for the electric skateboard, which is on the charger right now. And then I've got camera chargers, phone chargers, everything sitting right here. So you just take what needs to be charged, set right here, plug the cord into it, and off it goes. Then on the back side here, we've got your normal standard 12 volt cigarette lighter style plug, a couple other DC jacks right there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 120, 115 volt, whatever you want to call it, AC power outlets. And then there is our charging ports up here at the top. You can charge it off of solar, off of cigarette lighter plug in your car, or off of 115 volt power outlet. I have right here coming in, you can see solar, and this is the smart cord coming in that runs off of the smart generator. But that's the big difference for the people who saw the grand tour of this setup, is the smart generator is no longer here. I said I was going to move it and build like a little house for it or something to keep it out of the sun, out of all that stuff, and all I ended up doing was just taking it away completely because it never needed to turn on. See, that solar cord runs back there, off up there onto the top. We got two 100-watt solar panels, and those two solar panels keep up with everything I need in this office where that generator never kicked on. I will also explain that generator a little bit if you haven't heard of that. As you can see, this is the extra battery pack section of the Wave 2. It's got a full charge. This is off right now because we're down to temperature in this room, even though it is 88 degrees outside. Should probably shut that for that very reason, even though it makes it echoey in here. See, we are at 94%. The solar panels out there are currently putting in 132 watts of power. This is a 2,000 watt equivalent of a generator power station capable of putting out 2,400 watts on its standard run through its 15 different power outlets it has. But you can hit the X Boost mode in the app, jump that up to 3,400 watts, and on a surge rating off your AC power, you can surge up to 4,800 watts off this little unit right here. And you can see I'm running everything. I don't even have the extra battery plugged in. You see this right here is an extra battery that can plug straight into that to expand it. And if you get enough of those, you can expand that out to just over 6,000 watt hours of power. That extra battery can also run this. This right here is a great, probably the best balance of cost versus capability power solution that you can get. It is lightweight, it's fast recharging. That thing recharges from 0 to 80% in 43 minutes and from 0 to 100% in an hour. That is the fastest in the market. And the big thing, you notice, it's inside, sitting on the counter. It's not a noisy generator. There's no maintenance. You don't have to have outside. There's no fumes, nothing like that. Put it where you need it, plug it in, and you're good to go. But let's say that's not quite enough for you. I get it. Sometimes I have big power needs too, especially when you're in a wildfire area. And of course, the day I'm filming this video, the wind's kicked in, as you can probably hear the wind noise. The smoke got pushed out, and we actually have some blue skies for the first time in probably a month. But that's okay. I would much rather have some nice clear skies, some fresh air to breathe for once, than a more dramatic smoky backdrop, just for the sake of this video while I'm talking about power outages during fire and natural disaster. So this has not been the normal, but man, is it a welcome change. Now, fire's not the only issue. There's, while we're on fire here on the West Coast, over on the East Coast, they're having massive floodings. Down in Florida, they're having hurricanes. In Texas, there was just a hurricane. I think 2.5 million people lost power. And in that case, you're gonna be out of power for weeks, it could be. And then you might need more than just a little 2,000 watt power station, even though it's expandable up to just over 6,000. That is where the EcoFlow Delta 3 Pro comes in. You wanna talk about an incredible little unit here, and you notice that right there, 120 volt, 30 amps, meaning this unit right here can run my whole RV over there. We should actually go plug it in and do that. Let's see where we're at here first. We're at 97%. It is shut down on its charging. I've had the solar panels laid out here this morning and running in. Those are just portable, folding, 160 watt solar panels. And they got this thing topped off. So we'll unplug, wheel this thing over to the RV, plug in that 30 amp plug right there and see what it does. You can see on the back side here, you can plug in two separate solar inputs. This one will do up to 15 amp, this one will do up to 20 amps. And then you have your 110 volt wall plug here. Here, this switch right here says fast charge or adjustable charge. Now, the reason for that is this unit is capable of taking in a lot of power really quick, but not all 110 volt wall outlets are capable of putting out that power so quick. If you've just got a 10, 15 amp weak outlet, power outlet breaker there, this unit could easily pop your breaker by trying to draw way more current than that thing can put out. Well, then you can open up the EcoFlow app, go in, and you can adjust what rate this thing takes in power at. You can also do that with the Delta 2s over there. Very handy feature where you can max out what these things will take in, get charged as fast as possible without blowing your breakers. But if you've got a, why did I bring it all the way over here? The cord goes all the way over there. Well, let's just do it right here. I was gonna say, but if you've got a 20 amp breaker, some big healthy 115 volt breaker, you can crank this thing up let it pull in some serious power, and it charges fast. And when I say fast, I do mean fast. With all of its multiple ways of being charged, this thing can take in 7,000 watts of power. I mean, you can recharge this thing's full capacity of 4,000 watt hours of power in 1 hour. You know, because it slows down the last 20% of the charge to help protect the battery, which is the reason that this battery lasts for 3,000 cycles, meaning if you drain this thing to nothing and then recharged it back up completely every single day, it would last you, what is that, 8, 9, 10 years, somewhere in there, a very long time. Also, I mentioned it's 4,000 watt hours of power, but as you can see, it is expandable with multiple battery packs up to 48,000 watt hours of power, which is absolutely insane and can run your entire house off of 120 or 240 volts for a very long time. Open her up here and plug it in. Okay, so we've opened up our EcoFlow app here. You can see I have quite a few EcoFlow products I've had for a very long time and have been very happy with them. So we're going to open up Delta Pro 3 here. We've got 97%, and we will turn on our low voltage power. And I just heard the AC kick on in the RV. So let's see if we can go in here and turn on the microwave while we've got that wonderful AC running and are charging our whole house battery system down there. Will it do it? There it goes. I put it for 10 minutes. That's a bit extreme. Let's go see what it's pulling for wattage. We have bumped up to almost 2,900 watts it's pulling out of there. And this thing is having no problem doing it. You can see we're off of our 30 amp 110 volt plug here. Right here, this is a 240 volt. This here is a 120 or 240. We've got all these 120 volt outlets here. Our USB-Cs, our USB-A's. Over here, we've got a multiple of 12 volt Ethernet cables. You can tie multiple of these units together if you want. And then of course in the back, as you already saw, your expansion ports for more units and bigger batteries. So we got it back over here in our little pool maintenance spot slash outdoor fridge. And the pool is something a lot of people don't think about in a power outage emergency, and how important it is to keep that water clean. No, this is not water you'll be drinking and cooking with, unless like some extreme emergency, because you know you got chemicals and such in it. But this is a massive water storage tank that can be used for things like cleaning, fighting wildfire, defending your property. There are so many uses for water besides drinking, and that is a ton of it. And the last thing you want is your pool maintenance system to shut down and not get all algaed and ruined. So we've got it all running off of this right here. Let's unplug that, plug it into this unit here. Pump just kicked on. Let's turn on our vacuum as well. And since we're here, let's unplug that fridge and plug it into this as well. So now that is a, I believe, 2,000 gallon a minute. Oh, no, that's not right. Maybe an hour. Hold on. I don't know. It's a pretty hefty pool pump for what it is. What do you say? Half a horsepower, 60 hertz, 3.3 amps, whatever. That's a half a horsepower pump that it's running right there. Plus it's running the vacuum down in there. That's solar, which, speaking of solar, like I said, you can build a solar array to keep this thing charged at 7,000 watts, meaning in the sun, this thing can be putting out its full 4,000 watts that it'll do completely on its own, and you'll still be gaining a ton of power in it during the day, so you have plenty to get you through the night. But I hear you. That's not enough. What if I'm gonna go through all that, or we don't have a lot of sunny days, that smoke is rolling over, or that we're using this for a hurricane, it's cloudy, solar panels aren't working so great. We need an actual gas generator. Well, there's a way to combine this efficiency with a gas generator that just makes so much sense. And that is my very well used and abused EcoFlow smart generator. It's a dual fuel, runs off propane or gas. This is, I believe, a 18 or 1900 watt gas generator that on this side right here has a smart cord outlet, And on this side right here has your normal 120 volt outlet. So this is the direct replacement for my little 2000 watt gas generator I showed you over there, except for the difference with this. This is one electric start controlled by that same EcoFlow app, so you don't even have to come out here and start the thing up. And for two, with this smart generator port right here, using the EcoFlow smart cord plugged into any of the Delta series or bigger, I believe, power stations, this will start itself up at a predetermined battery voltage level. I set mine at 30%. It will run full bore to charge this up to whatever percentage you tell it to stop at. And since these do their fastest charging from 0 to 80%, and then it slows way down on the charge input from the power source to make that battery last longer, I usually cut it off at 80, and then this will shut itself down, turn off, let this run on what it has in its battery. When it gets back down to 30%, this will fire itself back up and fast charge that back up. Meaning the generator is only running when it needs to make power. Remember what I said about that fridge earlier, only running on a 50% duty cycle, but the normal gas generator is being running on a 100% duty cycle, wasting all that fuel, all that maintenance, all that time running when they're not being used. Well, that fridge can pull power off of this or any of the other units as needed, here and there, when it needs. If you don't have solar or enough of a solar to keep this charged up with all the other things you're running as well, you can plug this right here into it with the smart cord there, and then this will fire up as needed to keep this topped off and running. And that is a very, very, very efficient way to use a gas or propane generator. And then of course we use it as a normal generator for all kinds of other stuff. Our low bed trailer painting project, that's the generator that ran the paint sprayer and everything else over for that thing. We use that as our portable generator around the property to put power where we need when we need a gas generator for something. But now that I have this one, this may get upgraded to my new office power system, so that the Delta 2 Max over there can be my portable, easy carry around one. This one's got wheels and a handle, but the Delta 2 Max, you can just grab a handle with one hand, pick it up and carry it off. And that will replace this right here. Meaning this poor guy that's been so used and abused, as you can see, and take a break, get some maintenance done to it, what you don't have to do to these, and be our extra home backup power solution. So I'm excited to put the Delta 3 Pro to use a whole lot more, try out a lot more stuff with it. I think it might, I don't know, I've got a fight between it being my new office power station or it living permanently in that RV, so we don't have to run the generator on that RV as much, which would be really, really nice. I'm sure there's a way to do it, I just have to figure it out. That RV has solar panels on it, and I'm wondering if I can wire that solar into charging the RV's house batteries and then defaulting to this right here so that those house batteries are topped off. Then that same solar that's already on there charges this up right here, and then it pulls power from this first, then everything else is kind of a backup. And that generator, that thing, ideally would never get started again, which would be super, super nice. But back to our natural disaster talking here. Food there is not the only need you're gonna have. A big one that kind of hits close to home to me is medical devices. There's a whole lot of people out there who rely on medical devices to simply stay alive every day, me being one of them. Luckily, the medical devices I rely on are not electrically powered. They're just physical devices, so that really helps there. But there's a lot of people who the medical devices that's helping them stay alive every day or keeping them alive is electrically powered stuff. And having something like this that you can keep that uninterrupted power going to is huge. This right here, you can plug your device into this, then plug this into the wall. You probably wouldn't use one this big. There's the smaller ones work really good for it, for sitting like in a cabinet under a dresser or something like that. Plugged into the wall, plug your device into that. It runs right through the whole system, no problem. The device, the EcoFlow device, stays charged up. If power ever goes out, your medical device keeps running completely uninterrupted. No change in power to it. Also, being a farm kid who has no farm animals now, because I was raised as a farm kid and I really don't want to play that game again. Say you've got incubators for eggs, you've got heat lamps for animals, you've got stuff like that, especially here in the middle of winter, it gets down below -10, -15. Having something like that, or even one of the smaller Delta 2s that those heat lamps are plugged into that then are fed off your power. If power goes out in the middle of the night, those will keep that heat going, keep those egg incubators going, all that stuff all through the night without any interruption, and everything will stay nice and warm and alive. So stay safe, stay powered, stay healthy with EcoFlow's ultimate home backup solutions. for any of the natural disasters that are happening this season. There's a lot of them going on along the country. And yes, I know this stuff is not cheap bargain prices, but it's not cheap bargain quality either. EcoFlow is an absolute premier brand in this industry. I mean, this thing looks like some futuristic sports car. And this is the part where I've told other manufacturers I was gonna do this, and they said absolutely not. If I did this, they refused to do sponsorship with me. When I told EcoFlow I was gonna do this, they said have at it. And that is, instead of me giving you my ultimate testimonial on what I think of these products, you guys in the comments that have bought EcoFlow products, paid for it with your own money, used it just as any other customer would, you put down there what you think of it, what your experience has been with EcoFlow and their products, and if it's worth the money. So thanks for watching, and thanks to EcoFlow for building some top quality, incredible products that are helping so many people out in such hard situations and making life so much easier for people who are in a more off-grid outdoor environment. Very happy with them. Check out the comments down below. Thank you guys again for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.